we have talked about the language of light, how it is a code that's assembled in different ways, and what happens when this code is resonated into a person, into one's energy field, how that works. Now we can talk about what you can do to help this process. When you receive an energy program, like during the Transcension briefings, when you get your monthly download of the energy that is related to harmonizing you with the entire planet, essentially process of staying in the Ascension timeline, what happens in your energy field that you can support or help in order to make that work much more efficiently within your system. Those programs that I write, they are complicated, but they are also simple. Complicated as in the way that they're written, they're complex, but simple as far as it does not take huge amount of knowing what to do in order to work with them. It only takes certain components of your conscious awareness in order to do that, but the benefit is huge because you actually get to unplug from all this lower 3D Earth mess that exists right now. Just turn TV on and you'll see. And instead live in a higher 3D Earth with a different vibratory rate altogether. And those programs monthly that I do in the planetary updates during my Transcension briefings, they support this sort of range of energy. It's like parameters that your field is reminded of monthly to keep you in the frequency that maintains your system in the higher 3D Earth's ascension timeline. So when the energy program arrives into your system, there are 3 things you can do. 1 is to be present. 2 is to tune in to what is happening. And 3 is to work with your resistances, with your issues, with whatever you have sort of in the way. So you can see how being present, the first part, is essential, because if we're all over the place, if we're running, if we think that, oh, okay, I'll tune into this thing or something happened, but whatever, I'm not quite there, we're not going to get much out of that. We're still going to get the download. We're still going to get the program, but it's sort of equivalent of downloading the file but never clicking on it to activate, so it just sits there in your computer, and yes, maybe it does some cleanup on the background, but you're not really aware of it, and you will get much more benefit if you were aware of it, right? If you ran it consciously. So being present is essential. If you know the time when the download is happening, that is even better, because then you can plan to sit and sort of be prepared, be aware when that happens. When I do my nightly downloads, like the night quads energies, those are the ones that run at night from 11 o'clock till 7 in the morning. You know when that's happening, so you can stay up at the first beginning of it, or at the end, you can get up early to vibrate with that. If we're talking about the energy of sort of being present for the download that comes from the meditation that is recorded, it's already there and you're watching essentially me speak and run the energy. That means by tuning into it, by resonating with it, you have that imprint in your field. Now, if you're present to it, so you actually sit with yourself in silence, you give yourself some linear time to go into spherical time, because otherwise we just ricochet off the walls and never find the center to actually receive the energy consciously. So that's all about presence. Now, the second part, tuning in, that means cutting off the interference, not looking for what should I feel, how do they feel, what did he or she or they experience. Am I supposed to feel this or that? I think I feel this. Is this part of it or not? All this stuff, it's external and it's judgment. But we are the universe. We're the only ones here. Everything else is an illusion anyway, right? It's all a program. So your fascination with yourself is the key. You have to be self-fascinated. You have to tune into yourself and say, okay, I matter the most. I just am absolutely fascinated with what's going on. Nothing's going on. Okay, wow, nothing's going on. Isn't that incredible? And you'll notice something is actually going on. You were just not aware of what it is because so much noise going on. So if we come down and tune in, we'll receive more data about what is actually occurring. Maybe you will notice some energy flow in a particular way. Maybe different thinking pattern or feeling emotions would show up. Maybe it will not happen during the download itself, but afterwards. But tuning into yourself, keeping that sort of a broadcast conscious all the time, instead of looking outside to find out what you should be feeling, this is essential. And the number 3 is working with the interference. Well, what does that mean? That means processing. That means being aware of your own issues. Know thyself. That's sort of the bottom line of any spiritual journey. You have to understand who you are, what's in the way. Karmic patterns are unfinished business, something that we have not graduated ourselves from yet. Which means if we hurry up and do it, then the karma actually gets cleaned up. And remember, karma is the interference pattern on receiving or activating this hell's blueprint, the frequency that is divinely related to the universal God source, universal intelligence sort of level of consciousness. If we want that, which we do, and I assume you do if you're watching this video, that means that we need to actually work with whatever we got in the way of bringing that energy fully into our systems, which means studying, journaling, maybe writing your dreams, maybe looking at your patterns, noticing what you sort of automatically take on as beliefs, not questioning them. So look into those and question. So anything that has to do with self-work, consciousness, that's all in the category 3.